Homicide Gang just released their newest album, Homicide Lifestyle, and I actually think this one's pretty good. I think while there are some not so great songs and some songs that, maybe had some potential but it didn't really work, I think there is a lot of potential from this group, and I think they actually are maybe the most promising one in Opium. I think a lot of the beats they have in here are just really solid. They're probably not as mainstream as like Lone and Ken Carson are gonna get, but I think they are a really gritty group that will have ton of like actual fans that like their music a lot. And I definitely think this is a really good album. Bino did his thing. Michi clearly is the second guy in the group. Bino's definitely the main guy, but I still think they both put in really good work on it. And I think Michi had, in my opinion, some of the better verses. But let's just go by track breakdown. Lifestyle, I really like the production on that they have on this song, but I don't like the delivery and vocals that Bino uses on this song. Michi sounds a lot better, but it's a little bit too much of Bino on this song, so I'm not a big fan of this one. Guitars, I don't like the auto-tune that they use on Michi's voice, but the beat is pretty interesting. I like Michi's verse a little bit more than Bino's verse. Bino's verse is one I don't like the auto-tune on, and I just think his voice sounds a lot better. The production on Can't Go sounds really solid. I like the aggressive style that Bino starts off with, and I don't really like Bigavelli's voice. I feel like that is really one of the guys that kind of ruined some of these songs for me. I just hate his voice. It sounds like he smoked a pack of cigarettes like every time before the song. He just is like coughing. But I do like the chorus. It sounds pretty catchy. Then Tatted, I like the guitar on the instrumental. Their flow also sounds really good, and I think Bino sounds really good on this song, and Michi also sounds really good on the backside of the song. 5 Ways, the production is pretty amazing on this song and just sounds really good. Bino starts off the song, his delivery and vocals sound really good at the beginning, and Michi sounds good on his verse as well, but I think that Bino's flow just sounds so good, kind of outshines him on this song. Then we go to V Friends. The production is a little generic on this one, and Bino sounds a little bit bored. The flow and delivery from the both of them is close to aggressive, but I feel like they're kind of missing a little bit of energy. They don't have some of the same energy that they bring on a lot of the other songs. BB, the production is cool on this song, but I don't really like the chorus from Bino. Michi brings in a lot more energy, but he's on the song for such a short time. It doesn't really allow him to develop his verse. And I feel like that's kind of a common thing. Michi has a lot less time than Bino, which I don't really get because I feel like they're supposed to be a duo. But don't ask me. There might be a reason for it. Then we go to Life. The production is a lot more laid back with a simple generic guitar sample turned into a super ambient trap beat. I really love the production on this one. Might be my favorite production I've heard from like Homicide Gang and maybe even Lone and Ken. But I don't want to say that without listening to some more of their songs. But I do like Bino's flow and the production. I feel like this makes this song feel a lot more grand and larger. And then Michi sounds solid for the short amount of time that he's on this song. The production, in my opinion, really carries this song, but I think it all kind of works together. I feel like Bino and Michi do their thing on this song, but it just is a really great song, and the production is amazing on this one. Then we go to TF. I don't really like Bino's verse, and the production's a little generic. Michi sounds pretty good on his verse. Bino's chorus isn't really that good, and the Lone verse is solid for the time it's on, but I don't like Bigavelli's verse, and I think he sucks, at least on this song, and he shouldn't really be on it. He just kind of thrown it at the end, which is kind of stupid. They're going to notice it. I really like the production on this song. I think Bino's first verse has really solid flow and delivery. Michi's verse sounds pretty good as well, as he picks up kind of a quicker flow, but doesn't really get time to develop his verse, so it doesn't really do anything. Then we go to None to Some. The production's a little bit generic, but it's pretty solid. I don't really like how Bino's vocals are kind of toned down on the chorus and his verse. Kind of sounds like a lean type of music, which is okay, but it's not bad. But Michi's verse really is a breath of fresh air and sounds really good with his flow. Then we go to Scale Stretcher. The production is okay, and Bino's first verse sounds pretty solid, and Michi's flow and delivery work, but I don't like Bigavelli's voice at all, and the song is pretty boring on its own. The production is pretty interesting at the end. There's like some cool little developments that it does, but overall isn't that amazing, and it's just kind of okay. Then we go to Trippin'. I like the aggressive style that's employed from the beginning, but I don't really like Bino's voice on this one. Michi gets on. I think he sounds a little bit better, but I feel like the beat just doesn't sound that good. Like, I just don't really like how the beat sounds, even though it fits well with their voices and the style. I just don't like that style. Then we go to Stunt. I think Ken on the chorus and his verse is pretty solid, and I like the production, but I think Ken and Bino and Michi all sound a little bit like more tuned out than they could have been. They just have this style that could have been a lot better if it's just sped up a little bit, but they're just like a little bit out of it, which it's fine, but I just wish it was a little bit sped up because I feel like it would have sounded a lot better with more energy and just more speed. But, I think the delivery and the flows from all of them are pretty solid. I just wish the flow could have been sped up. Then we go to Drake On, I think it's called. I really like the production on this song, and Bino sounds solid at the beginning of the song. The production really goes hard. Michi comes in with, in my opinion, an okay verse because I just don't really like the delivery at all. It gets a little bit better further along in the verse, but I think that Bino's verse kind of carries the song with his flow and delivery. Then we go to CV. I don't really like the energy that they bring on this song, but I think that Michi kind of brings the energy up a bit at the end. It's just a little bit short, and the production is solid, and, nothing really that special. Then we go to Wings. I don't really like the production on this song. Bino's verse is okay, but I don't like Michi's verse on the song, and then Bino's delivery and flow are solid, but I don't really like his vocals that much. Then the next one, Shots Off. I really love the production on this song, and I like the flow and delivery of Michi and Bino, but I don't really like Wana's verse. I don't know if it's Wana. I saw on Genius that it was Bigavelli might have been also on the song, so it could have been him. Don't 100% quote me on it because the lyrics aren't fully out for this, but I think it was Wana. I'm not sure though. Either way, though, I think this album is pretty solid. I really like the potential that these guys have because I feel like there are a lot of really amazing songs on this album, especially Life and I think Life and Five Ways. Tatted was pretty cool. Like a lot of the production on this album was really amazing, and I feel like the verses from both of them were really solid and just really added to these songs. And I just think overall, Homixide Gang does have a lot of potential, but I feel like with their sound being a lot more gritty and, unrefined compared to Destroy Lonely and Ken Carson, where it's it's not gonna be as mainstream. I'm not really expecting them to pop into the mainstream off of this one, but I feel like these songs are just so good for performing. I feel like the energy that they bring on a lot of these songs are just so great, which is gonna be really interesting to see because I'm gonna see them in concert with Destroy Lonely. I just think overall they're really a solid band, and there's just so much group, and I feel like there's so much potential coming from them. So I'm hoping that Opium as a whole gets to put out more music because there's a lot of good stuff on this album. I feel like it could have used some cuts, of course. I feel like that was a common theme with No Stylist, X, and this album, but I feel like there's a lot of really good songs on this one, and I feel like those really good songs were some of the best songs out of the 3 Opium releases. And I just think overall Homixide Gang is a little bit different than the other two because I feel like they're more, pop sounding in some ways, while Homixide Gang is more gritty. But either way, though, it's a really solid album. And yeah, while there were some cuts, there are some amazing songs. So I'm going to have to give it a 6 out of 10. I like this. I thought it was pretty good. It's nothing super amazing, but I feel like just Opium as a whole has this kind of sound they're developing. And I'm hoping that Opium and Playboi Carti, they can start releasing more music because I feel like they're really trying to develop this sound.